All right. This is Jim Carty with the Patch, and I'm here with Barry Goudreau. How you doing, Barry?
I'm doing just fine.
It's great to see your mug after everybody being cloistered at home for so long.
Yeah, we're happy to finally get out and get in front of some people.
Isn't that the truth, man? I had a couple of house concerts during COVID outside, so people could get together and still social distance, and everybody was very grateful for just seeing their friends, even if it was at a distance.
Absolutely.
We all need the music, and we all need our fellowship, right?
I would say so.
Yeah, yes. Well, I'm excited that you're coming to my neck of the woods to the Cade, as we call it around here, but the Katherine Hepburn Theater in Old Saybrook this Thursday, October 14th. Uh, had you been to that venue before, or is this your first time in the room?
Actually, I've never been to the venue before. This will be a first for me.
Yeah, it's a beautiful, not a huge room, not a small room, but a gorgeous sounding room, beautiful. And of course, Katherine Hepburn lived at Saybrook Point, right on the ocean. And as a child, I lived in Old Lyme, the adjacent town to Katherine Hepburn. Katherine Hepburn would come to my school, and she loved horticulture. And she would help maintain a greenhouse in my science room.
No kidding.
Yeah,
Wow.
so that was one of her things. So, and we
Oh,
really
that's
didn't
cool.
know who she was as children, but we knew that the adults were making a big deal out of her. So it was kind of cool.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. But anyway, you know, uh, it's tough to get your arms around such a large career. So I'm going to kind of keep it to mostly the engine room, which is your current project. Tell me who's in the band and how you got them into the band.
Well, it's Brian Mace and Tim Archibald on keyboards and bass. So Brian's also the lead singer.
Yep.
Of course, Brian and Tim were in my band RTZ back in the 90s with the late, great Brad Delp.
Right.
I actually met Brian when I had Ryan Hunter. He auditioned as the keyboard player to go on tour, and I've been working with Brian ever since.
Yeah.
In fact, Brian produced this latest CD, which I got to hand it to him. He really did a terrific job. I also have Tony DePietro on drums, and we have Mary Beth Mays, Joni Cicitelli, and Terry Asoro on background vocals.
I
We
saw
call them our
I saw
special sauce.
I
You know,
did.
they sing background on most every song, and it really adds a great element. All three of them are tremendous singers, and
Yeah.
it makes me look good.
It really does. I did a little snooping online, and I think it was a Hampton Beach casino ballroom show, and I saw the ladies on background vocals, and I said, "Geez, this reminds me of the ladies backing Skinner or something in the old days," and I
Yeah,
really loved it.
exactly.
It
You
was
know,
so much
this record,
fun.
I was kind of looking back to my rock roots, before Boston really took off, kind of the late 60s, early 70s.
Yeah.
Stuff that influenced me, early Deep Purple and Joe Walsh and that sort of thing. And I think we really got that vibe on this record, that early 70s vibe. And we actually kind of put it into the packaging for it too, with the artwork and so forth.
That's
So
cool. That's
if you
cool.
love that period of classic rock, you'd love this record.
Absolutely. Well, clearly that's your thing. I was also reading something that at one of the first auditions for Boston, I think when you brought Brad in, the first tune you did was Whipping Post. I'm a nut for the Allman Brothers, so I'm just thrilled that was it.
Yeah, that was up on Revere Beach. A
Was
friend
it?
of mine had a Sunday afternoon jam session. And, Tom and I went to it. I invited Brad to come so we could, hear him sing for the first time.
Yeah.
And then, Tom played the Hammond organ, I played guitar, and Brad sang. And it was really special day. And that kind of cemented the lineup.
I gotta say that every time I heard Brad sing, it was a special time for me.
Yeah, Brad was absolutely one in a million. And
Yeah.
I mean, he was so humble. He had such a tremendous voice and an ear for harmonies like nobody. And he was so self-deprecating. He was like, oh shucks, it's nothing, but he was really fantastic.
Yeah, he was. I think I did chat to you one time. I did interview Brad at Doug Flutie's retirement party at Symphony Hall,
Oh,
and
sure.
yeah, and he was just insistent about keeping the focus on Doug Flutie, and I said, no, 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 let's talk about your projects a little bit. And it's exactly how he was, very self-deprecating and very kind and genteel. I couldn't have liked him anymore, you know.
Yeah, everybody has the same opinion of him. We miss him.
Yeah, yeah. And I know you miss Sibby too. I mean, having lived in Boston for decades, I was so used to seeing you guys play so many shows together.
Yeah, I met Sid back when I was 15 years old and kept in touch and played with him from then and until his death. So that was a tough one. In some ways even tougher than Brad's death because I was actually present when it happened. That was really heartbreaking.
Yeah, but he was doing what he loved, and he was doing it with one of his best friends.
Absolutely, yeah.
So how else do you want to go out, right?
Exactly.
You
I
guys
guess
love music.
there's no good way, I guess.
No, it's Howie Carr said, either you come down for breakfast or you don't, right?
Yeah.
But anyway, you're not old enough to be in the death pool with Howie Carr, right?
I certainly hope not.
Oh, I heard another interview where you were talking some of your blues influences, and I'm a big blues guy. I'd love to hear some of the blues influences you really have, and perhaps did you share the stage with any of your heroes there?
Well, I learned to play lead guitar playing along with the Paul Butterfield Blues Band record.
Right.
Michael Bloomfield playing guitar. I had a friend in high school, another guitar player, who introduced me to that. And up till that point, I had only been playing rhythm guitar, and that was really what stepped me into to playing lead guitar, playing solos. And when the English bands came through, in the late '60s, Jeff Beck Group and Led Zeppelin, they were pretty much taking those blues, tunes and
Mm.
reimagining them with big guitars and big drum sounds, and that was a real turn on for me. And
Yeah.
I just love that stuff. I saw Led Zeppelin the first weekend they played in the country. I saw Jeff Beck the first weekend he played in the country, and I had the privilege of opening for Jeff Beck a couple of times, but I've never actually played with him.
Well, I got to ask because so many of my friends are your age, have seen shows that were really special on the Commons and also at the Harvard Stadium. Did you go to any of those shows that were like $4 and like?
Well, it was really great when I was coming up is the old Boston Tea Party.
Right, the Tea
I
Party
saw
too.
all these acts there, and I remember going one time, and it was Sha Na Na, the Steve Miller Band, and the Allman Brothers,
Wow.
all in the same bill. And the room only held a couple hundred people, so you were within 50 feet of the band, even if you were in the back of the room. And
Right.
I just remember having some tremendous times there, shows there. And of course, at that time, it was $250 or $350 to get in.
Right, right. Well, Don Law was our, running the equivalent of the Fillmore. He was, uh, right there booking just the best stuff, right?
Yeah. Oh,
Was
absolutely.
Don a promoter of Boston when you guys went out, or I
Oh
assume?
yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
We work with Don a lot. He basically handled all the shows that came through Boston, and all the big shows we did, we worked with him.
Yeah, yeah. So anyway, you started to allude to some of the material you have out with Engine Room. Tell me a little more what kind of material we can expect at the Cape this week.
Well, this is the second Engine Room CD.
Yeah.
First one, I was kind of looking back at my blues roots. So
Hmm.
that record was more towards the blues end of things. This new record is more towards the rock end of things. And again, I think there's some really great classic rock style songs on it.
Mhm.
Of course, I touch on the other acts I've been involved with. We do play Boston songs, some of the big Boston hits, and we play songs from RTZ and from both of the Engine Room records. So it's a pretty diverse set of music.
That's cool. And, I did want to mention, often when I saw you in Boston, it was on a benefit show, either for Right Turn or for Bobby Herney or Peter Hackle's 9/11, benefits, or you name it. You've just done so much for the city of Boston. And, other than the great bands you pulled together, there's so many great players in Boston that, you kind of like a family almost. Tell me who you've played with on these all-star shows that you really enjoy getting on stage with.
Well, from the blues end of things, I've been friends with James Montgomery since the early days of Boston. He actually came to one of the very first shows we played down in Rhode Island. That's where I met him.
Hmm.
And we kept in touch through the years, and I still play several shows a year with him. I love getting up there and doing all the great blues stuff. And
Yeah.
of course, he's a real blues man. He's knew all the major players and played with them and knew them personally. And
Oh, he loved James
he's
Cotton. Those
got
two were thick as thieves.
great
Yeah.
stories about it. I was actually privileged to play with him and James Cotton a couple of times. And
Oh, you did get to play with Cotton and him.
yeah,
That's
and I
special.
remember one gig we did, we played a couple of songs before James Cotton came up on stage, and
Mhm.
had my first guitar solo, and I did my guitar solo, and I couldn't help but look over at James Cotton to see what his reaction was, and he had a big smile and gave me a thumbs up, and it was like, yeah.
You're right, right. I think everybody, Magic Dick, I've seen him with Cotton, and the same thing. He's looking over like, is he liking it?
Yeah.
How can you
Especially for
not?
a harmonica player, because he was just fantastic.
Right.
But, I've played with all the major players in Boston. I did a couple of shows backing up Steve Tyler. My band opened up for Joe Perry. I've done
Mhm.
several shows with Brad Whitford, and we did shows with some of the Car members.
Yep.
Elliot, great guy, great player.
I
So
remember the show after Jay Giles and Aerosmith at Fenway at the House of Blues Foundation Room. I think I sent you a little clip of that I had videotaped there of you and John Butcher and Johnny A doing Kansas City, which was
yeah,
fantastic. And
and I
that was
did
one heck of a night.
did play with Jay Giles several times, along with James Montgomery, because they were close. So yeah, I've had a lot of great experiences, a lot of super players in Boston, and
Yeah.
still more people coming up, which is heartening.
Yeah, no, I mean it's great. Berkeley College of Music keeps turning out great musicians, but unfortunately, I hear they're de-emphasizing jazz there, which I'm shocked about.
Well, it's all about the dollar, I guess.
Yeah, well, don't get me started, right?
Unfortunately, there's never really been any money in jazz, and you know, I, I guess they're going where the money is.
Oh, well, you can't blame them. I guess that's what everybody does.
Yeah.
Um, what else do folks need to know about what you're up to these days there, Barry?
Well, again, the last show we had done before we just started up again was New Year's Eve back in 2019.
Oh my goodness.
So, it's been quite a while since we got out there, and we finally did our first show back in August. So, it's really great to get out in front of the audiences, and, it's been going over really well. It's a really great band. A lot of really great material. Like I said, we do some of the Boston hits, plus, all the stuff from my career. So it's a great show.
Yeah, I can't wait for people to come out in this area and see you. And I was going to mention that I think one of the last shows I was at live with you playing was the Right Turn show with Gary Hoey as band leader, and Warren Haynes was on it, and Jimmy Montgomery, and I'm trying to think of who else. But you were fabulous that night.
That was an absolute thrill, going toe to toe with Warren Hayes. That was just fantastic.
He's
And
the real deal, man.
Yeah, yeah, and I really appreciate seeing that footage. Another friend of mine was at the show and shot some footage from the balcony, and uh, what a thrill playing with him. Just
Yeah,
super guy, super player.
yeah, yeah. And I thought Gary was a really nice band leader too. He had a very gentle way of leading the band all night, which
Yeah, Gary's been doing the rock and roll fantasy camp thing for many years now, and that lends itself to you've got groups of musicians who are nervous about playing in front of anybody. He's
yeah,
very reassuring as far as that goes.
I
So,
thought so. Yeah.
yeah, has a lot of experience there.
Boy, the other guy that blew me away was Gary Sharon. Did you catch his tune? He did the Who.
Oh yeah, yeah. He's a giant Who fan. In fact, he has a Who tribute band.
He was amazing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. He loves that stuff. And actually, I think they just did a show a few weeks ago with his
Did they?
Who.
Very cool.
Quite a history. Extreme and Van Halen and.
I know. Yeah, it's a head scratcher, man. From the North Shore to the Van Halen. Well, this has been really fun for me, and I'm looking forward to seeing you later this week, there, Barry.
All right. Well, come up and say hello.
I certainly will. All right, man. Be safe out there while you turn around.
All right. Come
All right.
on out Thursday night.
I will. Thanks.
All right.
Take
Thanks.
care. Bye.